All right, so solving an absolute value inequality, problem type 5. So what we need to do with these ones is we have some general steps. So the things that we have to remember is absolute value. Oop, wrong thing. So absolute value, the sticks are absolute value. And what they mean is distance from zero. Which means that we can't go a negative distance. We can go in a negative direction, just not a negative distance. So absolute value equals a negative number is not possible. Okay. Most of these are going to give us two answers unless we're saying we're zero spaces from zero. So we have some general steps. One, get absolute value alone. Okay, so you're going to solve just like a regular inequality, regular equation. In this case, we're doing inequalities, but we would get the absolute value completely alone. One other thing that we're going to say with the absolute value, do not distribute into that. So never distribute into the absolute value. They are not parentheses, do not distribute into them. We would treat it like a variable when we're getting with that. So we're going to get the absolute value by itself. Two, we're going to think number line. And when we think the number line, solve both distances. All right, so adding into my pink, which I realize pink is not the easiest to read, I will maybe change the color. So absolute value equals number of spaces Okay, that's just another definition of the distance from zero. So when we're doing these problems, we're going to start with the problem. So we have 6 times the absolute value of y minus 2 plus 7 is greater than 31. We're going to get the absolute value all by itself. So we're going to get rid of that 7 first. And 6 is the absolute value of y minus 2 is greater than 24. All right, and we still want to get the absolute value by itself. Remember, this is 6 times the absolute value. We cannot distribute into it. So we're actually going to get rid of the times by dividing both sides by that 6. These cancel out, and we have the absolute value of y minus 2 is greater than 4. Now, this is where we think of the number line. So I'm saying that I'm going to be more than 4 spaces from 0. Keep in mind that this is spaces. So I'm really going to change it to get rid of the absolute values. The way that it works in my head is I am thinking I'm going to get rid of those absolute values because I'm no longer going to think of spaces. I'm going to think of where would I land if I was 4 spaces from 0. So I could be at -4. Now, if I keep it in the order of the number line, I for the most part, can keep the same symbol. Occasionally with the inequalities, we could have a negative number when I'm thinking about it. It would be when it's bigger than that. But hopefully we're not going to deal with too many of those. They're kind of special cases. So the way I solve these is -4 is greater than y minus 2. And so it's an and problem. Y minus 2 is greater than 4. Now, that's how I split it out to get rid of the spaces and change into the distance. So from the distance to the actual location. So then we're solving this. So +2. And I get -2 is greater than y. And I add 2 over here. And I have y is greater than 6. All right. So when I am thinking about this, I like to think of a picture. So -2, open circle, 6, open circle. So y is bigger than 6 goes this way. Y is actually at the smaller point, so it's less than -2. So we would write y is less than, because we like less thans more than greater thans, -2, or y is greater than 6. So because my graph has that gap in it, that is the or. If it was between the two, if shading with that, then it would be an and. So we're going to type this in. We're going to have an or. The first one is y is less than 2, -2. And then y is greater than 6. We'll check our answers. All right, and we'll do another one. We're going to get rid of some of the extra steps, so hopefully you have them written down. So remember, steps we're going to get alone, and we're going to think of the number line and break it down, and then just some definitions of absolute value. So we're going to clear all of that. And now we're going to solve this one, which is 2 times the absolute value of y plus 7 plus 1 is less than -9. Yet again, we start by solving just like a regular inequality or equation. We're going to get rid of the 1. And I have 2 times the absolute value of y plus 7 is less than -10. Divide both sides by 2. Now, because I get a negative answer, I'm not going to change the inequality because I divided by a positive number, so I don't have to do anything special with this. So I have the absolute value of y plus 7 is less than -5. All right. So this is a negative number. It is, I can't be, so this is where I'm going to have to think a little bit different. This is -5 spaces. So this is basically saying this absolute value has to be smaller than a negative number of spaces. So that's not really possible. So we've got to process this out. Okay, so because we're talking about something that's not possible to do, it's not like I'm saying I'm always going to be bigger than this. This is saying I'm less than something that's impossible. So this is going to be one where I don't have a solution, but it's one of those things that you have to reason it out. All right, so we're going to check. All right, so if it was greater than something that's not possible, that would be, it's always going to happen. So we'll get another one. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a special case like that. But this is a special case. We do have to think about it. It does it's got potential of working because we're talking the inequality. If it was an equal sign, it's absolutely not possible. So we're going to clear this. And we're going to do our last one, hopefully. And this is the absolute value Clear. Clear. It's not liking me. All right. All right, so let's write the problem. Absolute value of 6x plus 12 plus 5 is less than 23. So subtract 5. Absolute value of 6x plus 12 is less than 18. Now, this one, I don't have to divide anything. I already have it by itself. So now I'm going to change to thinking the distance. So 18 spaces, I could be at negative 18. And it's going to be less than 6x plus 12. And 6x plus 12 is less than 18. Finish solving these. So I've got minus 12. I have negative 30 is less than 6x, divide by 6. X is greater than negative 5, or negative 5 is less than x. On this one, I'm going to subtract 12. 6x is less than 6, divide by 6. X is less than 1. If I think about this, I have negative 5 here, and I have x is greater than that. I have 1 here. Remember, I always want smallest to lowest, and x is smaller than that. So this is actually going to be between those two, because we're talking, it becomes an and problem when we're talking absolute values usually. Unless my graph shows me a gap. So then we are going to type this in here. So I have this problem. It's because I have it in order between it. I can actually put it all together. So I could write this as negative 5 is less than x is less than 1. So that's what I'm going to type. So negative 5 is less than y. Oh no, x is less than 1. Check my answer. And I am done with that topic.